Hello, welcome to today's video. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by your own creativity, by all of your ideas, and you just want to trust that your massive creativity can be wrangled and create incredible results for you this year, like a $500,000 business, like a book being published, like your dream offer being created, then this video is for you. We are going to go through 7 powerful lessons that will help you really channel and wrangle your massive creativity and trust yourself to take 10x action. This will give you some real results that you can actually repeat over and over again. So by the end of today's video, you will learn how to, number 1, use your already massive creativity to create clarity and impact. Number 2, trust your $1,000,000 ideas and implement them confidently. Number 3, you will build authenticity in your work that builds a vortex of the right people finding you. Let's dive in. Number 1, lead with your heart, not just your head. So for 20 years, I've been bearing my heart on stage, showing complete vulnerability. Then probably the most vulnerable thing that you could do as a human is play a piece of music from another composer who wrote it from their heart, who wrote it with an intent to bare their own heart, to expose their emotions. And I was performing it back in June. This one entrepreneur, she sends me a message this week. She says, Ina, I was at the back. I was bawling. The tears were just flowing down my face. And I realized that somehow you have discovered to show your heart when you play. You are able to play with emotion, and it shows. When did you master the cello enough where you could actually play with emotion? She was telling me how she had learned the flute in middle school and high school, and it was all very technical, all a lot of head knowledge, and she really wanted to learn how to actually show her heart, lead with her heart, and trust her heart in business. She saw that there is a correlation between how you make business decisions and how you actually make decisions when you're on stage. So there's actually a way that you can lead with your heart, not your head. And trusting your actions is what'll get you there. So actually in September, I went to a sales training with, I think it was like 98 different women. And one of them, my dear friend Sarah Godfrey, she is a body language expert. Now, Sarah, I actually asked her, Sarah, can you assess how do I stand? So I stood for her, and immediately she said, Ina, you lead with your heart. This was a moment of clarity, and I realized that this is an area that I can help you lead with. There really is a way for you to lead with your heart and trust your actions. Okay, point number 2, serve others through your creativity. So when I was 9 years old, I will never forget this performance. We were at the Medicine Hat Cultural Center, and this was the little conservatory that we would go to our music classes at. I was sitting in one of those squeaky red chairs and about to perform Lights and Shadows. It was a 7-movement work, and I'd memorized, I was all ready, and I remember just thinking, there are so many emotions that I want to express. I remember thinking, my parents don't understand me. My friends don't understand me. I feel like an outcast. I feel all alone. I realized that if I was able to play this piece with conviction and with control, but yet at the same time bearing my soul for these people through this music, it was the safest way to be vulnerable. Somehow, as a 9-year-old, I knew that this would be cathartic. And that was the moment that I discovered the one question that I always ask myself before every performance. And it was this: what can this music mean for someone else? I realized that I had to ask the question, who can this music mean more for than just me? That question shifted my focus, and it allowed me to balance emotional expression with technical precision. Creativity becomes incredibly impactful and authentic when it is approached from a mindset of service, creating deeper connections with others. So that's number 2. Number 3, balance your emotions with strategy so that your emotions can be pieces of information that leads you to the right strategy for who you are made to be. So let me tell you another story. When I was a kid and I was learning how to play the cello, every time I would perform, my emotions were so intense that it disrupted my cello playing. It was almost like being caught in a wave. Have you ever been at the ocean and you're standing on the beach, you're enjoying the waves coming at you, it's all fun and games until a really big wave comes, completely tumbles you, and you feel like you're inside the spin cycle of a washing machine. That is how it feels when emotion overtakes you. You are out of control. Eventually, I learned to, number 1, master the techniques, master the strategies to play with authenticity and power and control. But at the same time, I had to give my heart. That was the number 1 way for me to feel like I was understood and to communicate. So I discovered that when you channel 99% of your emotions and you hold back 1%, you have a sense of control. This means you're like a kite. You're tethered to the ground. The string goes up in the air and you're flying above the trees, but you still have that sense of control. You are grounded. And in business, balance is just as crucial. If you let your emotions fuel your work, but keep the strategic elements in place to stay grounded, that is when your creativity starts aligning with your goals. Number 4, I want you to start learning that the box is something that you are putting yourself in. You know, when people say, think outside the box and change the box to fit you, they don't really talk a lot about who is putting you in that box. A little bit of a story. For 2.5 years, I actually thought that I had to sell one thing until I reached 7 figures with it. I was putting myself in a box. And when I began to feel this resistance, like not everybody I was talking to wanted what I was selling, no matter how much I honed my sales skills, I reframed the question that I was asking. Instead of answering the question, how can I sell them on this offer? I started asking, how can these people benefit from the experience that I've gained over the last 20 years? How can I serve them where they are at? How can I be there for them in their hardest moments, in the moments when they really need new skill sets, and how can I coach them through it? And this question started to unlock creativity. So last November was when I started asking this question after 2.5 years of selling the same thing. And within 22 days after starting to ask a different question, I got out of the box and I sold Innovation Incubator for the very first time. That followed by creating actually 2 other offers that aligned with my unique purpose, and by reshaping the box that I was confining myself inside, I was actually experiencing 10x leaps. So, innovation requires breaking out of old frameworks and reshaping the box to fit your goals and vision. Okay, so now even though we are reshaping the box, we do need to set some boundaries so that we can trust that our creativity is not going to get away from us. This is best illustrated through a very funny story from my son. So he is 20 months old now. His name is Francis. And he was getting into every single kitchen cabinet one dinner. Like one day when I was making chicken casserole for dinner. And on the 7th time when I was like, no, Francis, he burst out crying, collapsed onto the ground, very dramatically, of course. And I told him, Francis, stop crying, use your words, tell mommy what is wrong. And with all of the strength that he could muster, he pulled back his tears and he pointed in a circle. He was like, no, pointing in a circle for the entire kitchen. To him, it felt like everything was a no. So I grabbed his little pudgy hand. I walked him over to his own little kitchen set, and he was more creative than I'd ever seen him. He knew where the boundaries were. He knew where the systems were. And because of the trust he felt in them, he was more creative than I've ever seen him play there. As entrepreneurs, we often say no to our million-dollar ideas out of fear, out of overwhelm, but we are the ones saying no. We are having these mini temper tantrums in our brains because of all the times that we say no to ourselves. No wonder we're exhausted by 7 p.m. But when we set boundaries and systems to let our creativity flow, then we can trust ourselves to act on those ideas. So that was number 5, setting boundaries to unlock creativity. Number 6, authenticity builds trust and it shortens sales cycles. So let me explain. Something you may not know is that a lot of professional musicians who struggle to show their heart on stage, really show their emotion and play musically, they hire coaches to choreograph their exact eyebrow raise, the exact moment their back arches, the exact moment when their left foot raises just a millimeter. And it creates a performance that does connect emotionally, but it feels a little fake. As entrepreneurs, we sometimes feel very pulled to use like pain point marketing proven scripts or sales scripts or things that other people say work. This is the same idea. We want to create from the heart, let the heart lead, and what happens is trust is built. So you can see it like this. There is a bridge of belief. Here is where your ideal customer is standing right now, and here you are. 2 islands. You want them to travel all the way across, get to your island. The only way to do that is for them to trust you to guide them. And if you are not authentic, they will not trust you. Authenticity not only connects, but it also accelerates this process. So authenticity, it builds trust, attracts the right opportunities. This makes your work flow naturally. Finally, number 7, think like a doer, someone who innovates, not just brainstorms. Have you ever heard the quote, the person who cannot read is no better off than the person who does not read? I think it's maybe the other way around. The person who does not read is no better off than the person who cannot read. And I would say that the person who does not put their work out there is no better off than the person who does not have work to put out there. The person who does not put their work out there is no better off than the person who does not even create in the first place. And in November, I achieved a 17x launch because I stopped viewing my ideas as distractions. I started seeing them as the very things that would lead me to my results. Have you ever sat down to do some journaling and like 96 minutes later, you're still writing? Maybe the inclination, your natural thing is to start feeling like that was a waste of time. But often, your creativity, the moments when you are the most creative, is when your best ideas arise. And this can just create new and more ideas. Now, there's actually a way that we can set up your systems to be like an innovator, big innovators such as Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, people who have made millions and millions of dollars because they've trusted their ideas and they've followed through. Creating something is the biggest gift that you can give someone. It is the most incredible thing that we can do as humans, is to create. And what we want to do is use our creativity as a tool for achieving these significant goals. instead of having our notes app on our phone flooded with these ideas, but us never actually taking action. So that was number 7. Think like a doer, not just a brainstormer. So there you have it, the 7 lessons to 10x your creativity and see massive results in your business. Let's do a quick recap. Number 1, lead with your heart, not just your head. Number 2, serve others through your creativity. Number 3, balance emotion and strategy. Number 4, break out of the box and remold it for your vision. Number 5, set boundaries to unlock creativity. The best freedom is actually found within boundaries. Number 6, build authenticity to create trust. And number 7, start thinking like a doer. Which of these points resonated most with you? I'm so curious. Let me know in the comments or send me a message on Instagram if you are listening to the podcast. And if you're ready to take the next step, then join the 10x Your Creativity Challenge. This is the challenge where I will coach you through these frameworks and help you really harness your creativity for the success that you are waiting for a $500,000 year, to write a book, to put the offer that's on your heart out there. You're not going to want to miss this. The challenge starts on January 22nd. So if you're listening to this, it's this week. I will be hosting it again. I just don't have the dates quite announced yet. So if you're listening to this after the fact, be sure to still check out the link in the description box and you can find out when the next challenge is. Thank you for watching, as always, and have a wonderful